And back here in Democracy 2020 now, ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Jonathan Karl joining us from Houston with a preview of tonight's debate. Jonathan, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
If you look at this, it feels like opening day of the campaign. Everything up till now has been preseason. We've had debates with 20 candidates spread over 2 nights. Now you are down to the top 10 candidates, and for the very first time, Joe Biden on stage with his longtime nemesis, Elizabeth Warren, right next to him, and on the other side of Biden, Bernie Sanders. I think it's going to be a very interesting dynamic.
Jonathan, I wanted to ask, how much do you expect these two, Biden and Senator Warren, to zero in specifically on each other this go around?
Well, I think that by default they will, because they have fundamental disagreements about the direction of the Democratic Party on issues like health care, the economy, even the environment. But that said, another dynamic here is that Democrats want to bring the fight to Donald Trump. If you talk to Democrats, look at the polling, the #1 issue is winning. They want a candidate who is going to win next November against Trump. And infighting among Democrats, between Democrats, is something that could backfire. So I think that they have to differentiate. They are going after the same group of voters, but they know that if you do what Kamala Harris did in the last debate, really take the fight to Joe Biden, you might draw some blood, but you can also alienate some Democrats.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Jonathan. It's been a common theme we've seen from Miami to Michigan going into tonight in Houston. As front runner, will we see the PAC really target Biden tonight than anyone else? And do you expect Biden to get more aggressive in his approach with the other candidates on stage?
Biden came into this race as the front runner, and a lot of people thought that he would fade, that he just didn't represent the core of the party, and he hasn't. He's had a durable lead. It's not quite as big as it was on day one, but he's had a durable lead now going into this third debate. So he wants to maintain that lead. He doesn't need to go out there and eliminate Warren or Sanders or to go after them, but I think he's going to have to show that he can respond if he is attacked.
And finally, do you expect anyone to drop out tonight if it doesn't go so well for him?
I think there are a number of candidates on the stage where it is either do or die or very close to do or die. If you look at the outer edge of the debate, you have people like Amy Klobuchar, Julian Castro, Beto O'Rourke. These are candidates that are barely qualified for the debate in terms of the polling, and are also beginning to run out of money, very little cash on hand. And even if you go in a little bit further, Kamala Harris, who looked like a front runner at the beginning of all this, and now has just seen her polling fade away. She still has a fair amount of money. She will still be around for a while. But you look at those candidates that are barely registering at 2% in the polls and running out of money, you've got to do something if your campaign's going to survive.
All right, there it is. ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Jonathan Karl joining us from Houston. Thank you, Jonathan. Keeping us covered on the campaign trail from start to finish. Remember, tonight's debate airs live right here on ABC Action News.